So Callum, if we can start with you, if you can tell us just a little bit about you, your business and where you've come from.
Right, my name's Callum Miller. Started my business back end of 2008 after being made redundant. Used the last of my family's savings to do it, which I still get thrown regularly back in my face at the moment. Making a success of it now. We've just moved into a unit in Stockton. 2 years hard work, but it's paying off now.
You've not told us what you do.
Oh, I remanufacture turbochargers. I've got to say it carefully because some people think I do tables. Turbochargers are what on most engines in cars nowadays. We take old knackered units and bring them back to as new condition at a half the cost of a new turbo. So we're doing fairly successful at the moment.
Brilliant. And Chris, a bit about you, and take us back to right at the start. Take us back. I mean, if you can remember that far back.
I can't remember yesterday. Chris Petty, Managing Director of the award-winning, multi-award-winning Cornerstone Business Solutions. We're an IT and telecommunications solutions partner. 3 years coming up in June. We've been going now. Feels like 5 minutes. There's 10 of us now in total. Grew by 65% on last year.
What were you doing before?
Oh God, everything. I've had about 54 million jobs, selling frozen gourmet food, joined the army from school, got no qualifications from school because I thought the army was my life. Was in the army a very short period, sold double glazing, sold vacuum cleaners, sold textured coating, started a fencing company that was good and profitable, but a bit of a long story where the government wanted to take money off me for that, as in taxes. So that went. Got into sales within business to business IT and then progressed from that route into what I'm doing today.
Excellent. And
my name is Michael Goodchild and I run a confectionery company called Fudge Fancies. I've only been going for just over a year after serving time served plaster for 23 years. How I got into it mainly was I was working in London at the time, and just through lack of work I just come across this idea. It was what my gran used to make years ago, fudge. And basically what I do, I've modernised it, give it a modern look and feel, because we usually see fudge displayed in block forms. So I've just revamped it, give it a new life. I've also been known as the Eston Blumenthal of fudge.
And there is fudge. I don't know if
I have
is there any left?
As well, yeah.
There is some at the back of the room, so please feel free to afterwards. What I want to look at first is you've kind of all made a transition, a breakthrough, kind of that first breakthrough. How did it feel? I mean, you were made redundant, but you chose to do something for yourself rather than go and look for another job. How did that? What went through your mind, and what were the challenges that you had to overcome?
Well, I started a business in 1988 when I left school, and I think it's something that's always been at the back of my mind. While I was working full time, I dabbled in a lot of daft little things, handmade soaps, handmade dream catchers, bonsai trees, lots of little bits and pieces. I used to sit there on a night time bagging up loads of little bonsai seeds. So I think certain things, it's set in somewhere inside you to do it. The reason I did what I'm doing now is not out of choice. I was made redundant, I've got a family, I've got 3 kids, and it was actually my business partner now who suggested I do it at the time. But the trade I'm in, it can cost you 80 to 90,000 pounds to set up properly, and we started with 1,200 quid. So we started as basic as you could get it. And like I said, we just spent £15,000 on 2 washing machines last month. It's a lot of stuff to go into, a lot of stuff to think about. But transition-wise, it wasn't necessary. It wasn't really my choice to go into it. I was pushed in and forced into it slightly, but I've got to say it's the best move I ever made. And it's one of those things that I wish I'd done it 20 years ago, which in hindsight I had done, but I didn't do it right then.
We'll come back to that, being able to set up with 1,200 quid when you need 80 grand. That's interesting. There's got to be a lesson there somewhere. Chris, for you, you know, you didn't go straight to Cornerstone as your own business. You worked in partnership with other people. But again, what was the decision to go? Because you ended up in a very well-paid, well-salaried job, and you made a conscious decision to turn your back on that and move into doing something for yourself. What made you do that, and what were the personal challenges that you faced in doing that?
Greed is the biggest one. I was earning a lot of money, but the employer that I was working for was making even more. So I thought, well, why do it for somebody else that's driving the nice cars and things, and why don't I do it myself and do it better? So the idea came from then, thinking I can do this myself, I can do it better. And that's what I did. And the move that I did at first wasn't to do it myself, it was to seek another company out. That was a telecoms company, and approach them to say I can set up the IT side of the business, but for that I'll take a percentage of your company and grow it through that route. So it was less of a, probably the word is I didn't have the balls to begin with to do it. So by this route I was guaranteed a salary, guaranteed a nice car. He went and bought me a brand new BM convertible. I took a percentage of his company, and I grew his business from £660,000 turnover to 2.4 million in 2 years. And it was running the whole company in the end, so that was me little works experience, if you like, of running a company. So then I moved from there to set up Cornerstone and took the staff with us.
And was that about having the guts and the confidence to do it?
Yeah, obviously it was scary to go to a guy and say, I think you're useless at what you do, and I'm the one that grew your business, so I'm going to take it away from you now. And we had a court case, an injunction. It was the worst time of my life, really. We set up off the back of, I had no money, because the wife likes to spend it. So we lived a lifestyle, even when we had the big wage, we'd just blow it. We'd spend money on nothing. And so when we set up, the only thing we set up with when we did Cornerstone was, let's jump ship.
I'm just waiting for the bullets to...
I know, yeah.
Got the look in.
I knew that I had 15 grand's worth of salaries to cover in the first month, and I set up by going to the bank and get a 25 grand overdraft. So I knew I had to sell within that first month for us to keep going. Plus, when that first month I had a court case, that cost me 13 grand in the first month for a solicitor's bill. That I got back because I won the court case, by the way, and the cheques up in the office. So that's how I went over our first cheques. So yeah, it was a bit of a scary time to do it, but I think you just had to do it. It was either do that or keep working for somebody he was pulling money out. It was a lifestyle business for him. We were making money, and he was buying villas in Spain, going to America, travelling around the world. And I was thinking, well, that's not right. It needs to be reinvested to grow it even more. So it's a bit of a strange story, man, because it wasn't as from scratch. It was, I've been doing it for years. I just took it and did it myself, if you know what I mean.
And I think that again, there's something that I want to come back to in terms of the way, you've built your own ambition and your own vision for what you can do and what you can achieve. And again, I think that does build as you start to see what you can do, what you're personally capable of doing, and what also is on offer in the marketplace. Michael, for you, it wasn't just moving from working for somebody else to working for yourself. It was a complete transformation in terms of, I'm sure there is something similar between plastering and making fudge,
I get that all the time,
but totally different marketplace, completely, so it must have been, was it scary?
Yeah, I mean, I've always cooked all my life, me. I just never had the balls maybe to do something with it, but I mean, I hated my job as a plasterer. 23 years putting on overalls on these cold mornings and, building sites. It just, every single day I hated, And it was just through working in London. I used to see these posh coffee shops and chocolate shops and things like that, and think, I wish I could do something like that, And work dried up, come back home. I think it was Christmas 2009. I used to make hampers. I used to make hampers every year for people. So this particular year, I made some fudge for someone. it was an old recipe, my grand's, just in the block form. And just some of the family members said, you know, you could do a business out of that. So, you know, that just come from there, really. I spent about 2 months perfecting the recipe, just to get it right. Smelt the house out a bit, and costs a lot on ingredients, but I've just got it perfected now. Well, I know it's perfected, not just.
And was it scary to move away from, you know, if you worked in it 23 years, it must have been providing some financial stability for you.
It was scary, but I always knew at the back of my, I knew the work was drying up, so I knew I had to do something. So it was picking something I didn't like again, or trying to do something I enjoyed, you know. I mean, it's hard work now what I do, but, you know, I love every minute of it, and I wouldn't change nothing.
And I think that's important, isn't it? That you know, you do, if you find something, if you can, it's the holy grail, isn't it? To find something that you love doing.
Well, you excel, don't you? If you find something you enjoy doing, you know, I mean, I probably could have made being a millionaire for perhaps. Well, I like to think I could have been, but something you love, you're always going to do well. I think you are, anyway.
Great.
You work hard at it.